Everyone speak, and I think it is a very moving time for me because I have not been able to meet Sir because of things at my own end. But yes, what is most important about Sir that I would remember forever is how he has shaped me to be a teacher who is democratic, who, as you said, as Sangeeta put it, do a book review and get the students to discuss it. And I think I got trained by Sir to become a teacher and to be a researcher also, to question a whole lot of things, whether it is caste, whether it is community, whether it is gender. And I think I can never forget Sir and his contribution to bridging all of us, the generation that joined after the golden age in JNU. I also would like to thank Sir for having made us critical, and in these recent times, when the issue of communalism, when the question of looking at history has created a whole lot of debate among us, we continue to teach the way we were taught, and that I think is something that our commitment to him and the cause of writing history the way we were taught is. I would like to pay my homage to Sir and offer my condolences to Ragini and Shalini. It's going to be very difficult. It's very difficult for me that I wasn't able to make Sir post-COVID. Thank you so much for having given me this opportunity.
I would now like to request Professor Tuteja, who is online. He, in fact, had actually met Professor Panikar just about a week before.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Please
Hello?
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, I am Tuteja.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
May I speak now?
Yes.
Yes.
May I speak?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mahalakshmi. In fact, I was very keen, but for some reason I could not come personally there. I met him on 5th of, I met Professor Panikar on 5th of this month, and on 9th he passed away. In fact, since last 10 or 12 years, I wanted to meet him for one reason or the other, I could not. I remember when the History Congress took place at Connaught, he sent me a message asking me if I were going to Indian History Congress, but I was not able to go. Once I made a plan and he said that I should come and stay with him. But what is important is that finally I could make my small trip and I could meet him on 5th for 40 minutes. Thank you very much, Ragini. She helped me out. During that 40 minutes, he was very nice. He was unable to speak. He kept on responding to some of the issues, and also, in a way, told me in a way he wanted to say about my family, how they are, and what kind of work I am doing, but everything in science. But what is important is that what has been said, that as a brave person, there was no sign of weakness on his part, and I could never imagine after 3 days he would pass away. This is my last meeting with him. The second thing which I would like to share with my friends here, I was one of his students in 1965-66. I was in Hansraj College. I was doing BA Honours History. I came from a government school with Hindi medium, and he came in 1966, perhaps from Rajasthan, and he was to teach us course in history of China and Japan. And what is important is that in the very first lecture he made a very distinct impression on us. He appeared very different as a teacher. I'm not saying that other teachers were not good, they were also very good. What I'm saying is that here was a teacher who was totally involved in that 50 minutes lecture, and that was one. He would always love his teaching, and he would always welcome questions. But I must say that at that time we were very much afraid, and I said that at that time in Hansraj College, the gap between the student and teacher was very much, and that too because of language problem too. He was very much scared. But one thing good in him was that whenever he would talk to us, he would make us very comfortable. Now this was one of his basic qualities. As a role model, he became a role model at that time in my mind, that if I have to become a teacher, Professor Panikkar would be one of my role models. Second thing which I want to share with you, that was in 1982, I suppose, that is 1981. It was Indian History Congress was held at Gaya. Before that, I was rarely in touch with him. He had joined JNU. I had gone to an official college. In the meantime, I had joined Kurukshetra, did my PhD, and I was sitting in a bus, sitting in the last seat of it, and he was somewhere in the beginning. He called me from there. Somebody was sitting with him, but he asked him to get up and gave me seat and asked me to sit there. And he discussed with me for about 30 minutes what kind of work I was doing. I mean, he remembered that I was student in BA honors. And then onwards, he later on told me that I should meet him in Delhi whenever I go there. So that was the starting point again from 1982. After that, I must say, I must have met him more than, a number of times. Whenever he would come to Kurukshetra, he would come to my place, he would be very happy to take meals at my place. And he would always, what is important is that he would raise some questions and seek your opinion, and he would not impose his opinion. I remember once I was talking to him about a book, and I was a little discomfort. I had some discomfort with that book. Probably Professor Panikkar, I asked him, what do you think about this argument? As a very nice, sophisticated person, he just smiled and he said, I think it is better you ask, you also know the author, why don't you ask this question to him? So these are some of the things which I always keep in mind. And lastly, how he shaped my historical writing, that is very crucial. That first book which I read by him, that was Against Lord and State, which has already been discussed. But what is important is that after that I read his book came from Tulika on culture, ideology, hegemony, and then from 3 collective essays. What struck me most was his understanding of alternative modernity. How in the colonial backdrop, keeping in view the colonial rule in mind, how the late 19th century intellectual were trying to have a creative dialogue between tradition and modernity, and what kind of resistance they offered. So his alternative modernity gave me some ideas in order to understand the role of Punjab Hindu elite in the late 19th century, and in particular Lajpat Rai. I think there I would just, before I end, I sent, when my book was published in my new book came out in 2021, I sent him a copy, or I asked my publisher to send him a copy. What was important in it that I could never imagine that he would call me, because by that time Parkinson had seriously affected his health. All of a sudden I got a message from him in the evening. I called from him in the evening and I could not understand, I could not recognize who is speaking. And he said in few sentences that he has received my book and he read the introduction.
And he said, Tuteja, I liked it. I remember very well. In a very broken language, he said. And then he said, keep working in his own way. What was more important in him was that he always encouraged his student, irrespective of the fact whether they belong to CHS or outside or at any stage his student, at any stage they were his student. And therefore, when I went to him, I'm already in late 70s, and I was a friend with a friend of mine, and I told him that I'm going to meet my teacher. He asked his age, and I said he would be around 90, and later on I came to look 89. And then, you know, one thing which he was, my friend, my colleague was, my friend, they were surprised that at this age I came to meet my teacher. And believe me, my basic interest of going to Kerala at that time was to meet Professor Panikar. And that was my last meeting with him. I always remember him as one of the finest teachers who taught me at early stages of my life. And later on, I learned a lot from him. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Tuteja. Thank you so much, Professor Tuteja. I'm now first going to request Professor Davar and then Professor Chamandal, and we will conclude with that. We will continue to pay our tribute, our homage to Professor Panikar over a cup of tea outside, but we do absolutely need to conclude. After they speak, I would also request Ragini and Shalini who are here, if they would like to say something, we would really, like to hear. Yeah, so first, Professor Dan.
Thank you for inviting me. Well, I was not aware of this meeting. It's Professor Tuteja informed me about this. And my background is entirely different. It's at the later stage that I joined the PG. In 1973, I joined the finance department of this university. And at that time, I was in the fourth semester of MA English Literature from Delhi University evening classes. My entire education is in because I belong to a very poor family, and then my entire education was in the evening classes, except my MPhil and PhD. And in 1973, when I joined, it was just, I used to meet students, and especially I was in the student section of the finance department, scholarship and all that. And I used to sit with the students, and those days, it was a cultural shock. And those days, in the ground, I used to skip from the office a little bit and finish my work in the evening, and attend the various meetings. There was perspective, and Jairus Panels was there. Those days, he was fascinated by the scouts, and lecture 3 especially in the old campus. It was a great experience for me. And then, on top of all, I used to attend all the students' election meetings when they used to deliver lectures. I learned a lot. And I learned, someone used to say, that even a Chaiwala there can learn Marxism in this ground. And I learned Marxism, I used to see them. My graduation when I was doing from Deshmukh College in IB, they also English literature. And I thought that Karl Marx Das Kapital is a fiction. Though I did not read it's only here that I was acquainted with little bit I know. Nizami's, they were all used to join Trotsky group. And there was Marxist forum and all that, and I will just because of inferiority complex, I will sit a little bit behind so that no one can see me, but listen to them. And all the lectures, those were the days, 70s, when the topmost intellectuals from all over the world used to come and deliver lectures. And it was my great advantage that I was working there and I used to attend all that. But when I finished my MA, I couldn't perform very well. It was just 50% something. And then, because there used to be 16 courses in Delhi University, and I used to reach at my home 11 o'clock midnight after attending my office up to 5 in the Ministry of Petroleum. I was from there I came, from the ministry. And even literature, I doubt whether I understood there, but I understood it here from the students, from those meetings, then attending nursing lectures. And also I used to, attend Sabyasachi Bhattacharya sometimes. Subhito Kaviraj I was very fond of. I attended his entire, his classes on myself. Then I got married because I was not happy with my performance and then produced 2 children also. Then I did MA history. That too, correspondence course from Rajasthan University. Then I met Vipin Chandra in 1979. It was my result came in 1978, 1979. I told him that I want to work on Punjab because my parents came from, West Punjab. But I was born in East Punjab, now it's South Punjab. So I told him that I want to work on Punjab. Then he asked me, what is your background? I told him, see, if you have done literature, then you should work on Premchand. I told him I have never studied any Hindi literature. But he convinced me that you should work on that. And it is 1980 that students move into place, and 1 year the library was overtaken by the students. It reminds me of the Paris Commune. It was great. I used to sit till midnight here and then go home to my home in Malvinagar on bicycle. Those days of happy days used to be bus. Just 1 minute. Now I can't go for the Then he told me, people told me, what do you want to work on? I want to work on the history of Aurora. I belong to Aurora family. And then he said, no, you work on Premchand. And told me that Panikar will guide you, but we'll give you admission. That was great fun. Frankly, I'm confessing here. And for 1 year, I was reading Dupart and all those Western literary criticism. And I wrote synopsis and I could perform well somehow in the interview, written an interview. And then I started working on Premchand. I wrote 2 papers with Professor Ken Panikar. I didn't know Ken Panikar earlier, but I knew Vipin Chandra. And I was so impressed by Professor Ken Panikar's humility, and that was great. But then in the meantime, Professor Gopal returned from, I think, England, Oxford. He said, no, you should work on, you should work with speech. And I already done 2 courses, seminar courses with Panikar, and I wanted to work on intellectual history. And then he agreed. Now my journey, little bit, half minute I take more. Panikar, people advised me that when you join MPhil, audit all the courses. Professor Mila Thapar's, Mukia's, Sabyasachi's, even sometimes others. They may not remember Mirla, and also Nilali. And I finished my PhD and got a job in Northeast. First in Arunachal University, now it's the Devani University. Then I left Premchand and already finished my PhD and started working on cultural identities of tribal communities. And then I joined Mizoram University as a professor. They invited me to set up the department. It was a central university. And from there retired, and then I did Indian Institute of Advanced Studies 2 years fellowship. Now, K.L. Panikar, I don't know what to say, I was his family member almost. I mean, entire family, Ragini, Shalini, and then, of course, Naratusha. I mean, used to take food there. Almost every week I used to visit him. And he was a very tough supervisor, frankly speaking. He made me to write 5 lines, he said. And I learned a great, learning a lot from him. He reshaped that, and he reshaped in the sense, you step and it should be like this. And therefore, whatever intellectual development little bit I had, I owe to him. But I kept my relationship after he joined Vice Chancellor, and then I used to live in Kerala, also Trivandrum, Indian History Congress. This time when I was attending Indian History Congress, I asked Arvind Google that I want to see him. He said he is not able to speak. But last time I spoke to him was Ragini helped me when he was at Bangalore. Somehow I couldn't get time, and I was 2 years not well also. And I couldn't go to Trivandrum because Arvind Gupta said that he won't be able to speak anything. What will you do there? So I returned to, I had to go to Dharamsala, and furniture pure, I had no problem. And I am so saddened by his death. Of course, he had Parkinson and all that. It was very difficult to talk on telephone. But when he was at Bangalore, I talked to him a number of times. Thank you very much, and I give my condolence to Ragini and Shalini, and my love to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ravi. I apologize for having this 2-minute thing, but we do really find that as well. I now invite Professor Chaman Dai, a very respected scholar who taught in the Center for Indian Languages in Chambers, and who's also been very active as part of the left movement.
Thank you. Well, actually, I will not take more than 1.5 minutes. So I am a non-historian, admirer, and respectful towards not only historians, but many social scientists and many other fields. I was part of the School of Linguistics, Center of Indian Languages. Now, how, during my student days, I was very close to Professor Vijayendra. Aditya knows that in his house there were tea parties of students, and I was one of them. Mostly all the Aditya and Bhagar, etc. were there, but I was also one of them. And I had gone with his survey team to Bihar also during student days when Salim Shah and Shashi were there with also. In any case, but with Bipin Chandra, I had a sort of very close introduction in context of Bhagat Singh, on which I have also worked as a non-historian. I will not claim myself as a historian. But I respect Professor N. Panikar. Also, I may have interacted with him during my student days. Because by the time I had learned in faculty, he is retired. But we have always remained online in touch. We have been sharing, exchanging mails, And especially, I want to underline that in 2007, Frontline, Hindu Group's Portrait General, has brought out a special issue on his Singh during his birthday. For 2007 was his birthday. And Professor Panikar was the main article in that journal. But it was the whole issue was, devoted to Singh. But Professor Panikar's article was the main contribution. So what I can say, because even as a non-historian, what I have followed is, in my work, that is Professor Vipin Chandra and also Professor Panikar. Because Professor Panikar's views I have respected a lot. And I have learned a lot from all these people. Whenever someone asks me, I always tell that I am not a historian. But I am, following the perception acquired by me during my JNU student days from Professor Chandra, Professor Panikar, Professor Mullah President is modern historian. Actually, before concluding, I will just mention Professor Mullah Thakur's touching tribute because in our JNU, the diary faculty is broke when the news of Professor Panikar's device has come. She has wrote in that group, WhatsApp group, that it is irony that she was at that time writing introduction to the volume which was being, collected in honor of Professor Panikar. And that was a kind of thing, because some ideas were so kind of emotional. Now today I think Professor Mullah Thakur is also there online, but probably she may not speak, I do not know. But that is a kind of thing, human relationship, and which is beyond, subjects and all this thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chamanlal, and thank you to all those who have spoken here. We have heard so much about Professor Panikar as a scholar, as a teacher, as a colleague, as someone who embraced all his students and made them feel like they were a part of his family. And that is, I think, one of the greatest gifts a teacher can give to the student. I now call upon Professor Ranjita Datta, who is one amongst the three of us who the CHS faculty had deputed to organize this meeting, to present some concluding remarks. Sorry, Ranjita, for interrupting. I just wanted to ask if Ragini or Shalini would like to say something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for all the condolence messages that have been coming our way. It has filled us with, it has overwhelmed us, and this is a very emotional time because we've heard from so many people, not only that these old colleagues who became friends over time, his old students from Hansraj days, and people who've known him in different capacities. So it has been very, very emotional these days. And especially today, hearing, how you all talked, taken us through his journeys, starting from Hansraj College to the establishment of, being a part of CHS, his path-breaking course, that is History of Intellectual India, which I am very fortunate to say that I have also attended as a student. And most of the teachers of CHS, most of the faculty of CHS sitting here have been my teachers too. And the personal anecdotes that Professor Aditya and Professor Mridula have really taken me back to my childhood. So it is very emotional, and I think that's all I can say right now. And Daddy's absence can never be. His absence can never be filled. He was a very strong influence in our lives. In fact, I would say the backbone of the family who guided us throughout. As I remember our childhood conversations on the dinner table, where he would be, he wanted to know everything about our school and our friends their lives. So he knew about them as much as we did. So it was a very engaging and a very interactive relationship with him. And I think that's all I can say. Thank you all for doing this. Thank you.
I'm sorry to have interrupted. introduce you, Rajita, and we are now invited to say that. Is Shalini also there? Would Shalini like to say something?
Everyone, Shalini Raman is online, but I don't know if she's.
Yeah, it is the same. Shalini? Can you unmute yourself, please? Shalini? Some internet problems, is it? Over to Ranjita. Third time.
On behalf of the Center for Historical Studies, we express our gratitude to all of you for being here in the room and online and sharing your memories of Professor Panikar. We thank especially Professor Panikar's family, his daughters Ragini and Shalini, for joining us in remembering Professor Panikar as a colleague, a teacher, scholar, institution builder, and above all, a wonderful person. We thank our students, Shinam, Kajal, Shivangini, Uttara, Archana, Raveen, Abhishek and Ashish for their invaluable support in helping us in organizing this program. Thanks so much. We conclude today with the hope that the rich legacy of CHS, developed and nurtured by our teachers, cherished by our colleagues, students and friends, is kept alive and goes on. Thank you once more. We request you to join us for a cup of tea. Thank you.
Thank you to all those who joined us online. We will now conclude the online meeting. Thank you.
सेमिनार ख़त्म हो गई, सॉरी कॉन्फ्रेंस। आज एक कॉन्डोलेंस मीटिंग थी हिस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट में, CHS JNU। ये देखो अभी ख़त्म हुई है तो सभी लोग चाय पी रहे हैं। मैंने भी चाय पी ली, सॉरी मैंने कॉफ़ी पी है, मैंने कॉफ़ी पी ली है और बहुत अच्छा लगा यहाँ पे JNU। अगर कोई अच्छा स्टूडेंट होगा तो डेफिनेटली वो JNU आने की ज़रूर इच्छा रखेगा। बाकी तो सबका इंडिविजुअल चॉइस है, कोई रखे या ना रखे। मेरी भी इच्छा थी लेकिन पूरी नहीं हो पाई। दिया था इंटरव्यू PhD का, लेकिन सिलेक्शन नहीं हो पाया। बहुत ज़्यादा इमोशनल हूँ थोड़ा सा। मामला ये है कि हमारे एक टीचर थे, प्रोफेसर और इतिहासकार KN पनिकर। उनका शायद 9 मार्च को निधन हो गया था, जिनको एक तरीके से कॉन्डोलेंस का मतलब शोक सभा, मतलब उनको याद करने के लिए ये लेक्चर था। बहुत दुख है कि हम यहाँ नहीं आ पाए। इतने अच्छे अच्छे टीचर, इतने बड़े बड़े लोग हैं यहाँ। ऐसी जगह आके वास्तव में जिस सब्जेक्ट को पढ़ते हैं उस सब्जेक्ट में आदमी की ज़िंदगी बन जा। चाहे यहाँ से हिस्ट्री पढ़ो या पॉलिटी पढ़ो, भूगोल पढ़ो, XYZ कोई भी सब्जेक्ट पढ़ो, JNU तो अपने आप में महान है। बच्चों को कोशिश करनी चाह, अगर पढ़ाई करे तो ढंग की जगह से करे, वरना ज़िंदगी तबाह हो जा। फर्जी जगह से फर्जी डिग्री इकट्ठी करने से कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं होता। लेकिन हमारा एक सौभाग्य है, कम से कम हमारे जो एक टीचर है हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट, उनकी मास्टर डिग्री और PhD यहीं से है। तो एक हद तक हमें JNU तो नहीं मिल पाया, लेकिन JNU की क्वालिटी ज़रूर मिली है। कम मिली हो या ज़्यादा आई डोंट नो, बट उतनी तो मिली है जो हमारे अंदर के एक लीडर, एक रिवोल्यूशनरी रिसर्च स्कॉलर को ज़िंदा रख सके। वैसे अब तुरंत ऋषिकेश चलना पड़ेगा, समय कम है, पर सेशन काफ़ी अच्छा था। और मैं ये रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा आप सब स्टूडेंट से, अगर कोई स्टूडेंट इस वीडियो को देख रहा हो तो रियली JNU बहुत 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 अच्छी जगह है पढ़ने के लिए। बहुत कम फीस में बहुत बेटर क्वालिटी की एजुकेशन मिलती है। ये देखो मेरे पीछे भी बिल्डिंग्स हैं JNU की। आने की कोशिश करो भाई, जब तक निकम्मे स्कूलों में पढ़ोगे ना, कुछ समझ में नहीं आने का। आजकल सारी यूनिवर्सिटियों में कचरा भरा पड़ा। कचरे का मतलब टीचर एक नंबर के निकम्मे भरे पड़े, अच्छे टीचर बहुत ही कम है। जो भी हैं, जहाँ भी है, कॉलेज में हो चाहे यूनिवर्सिटी में, वो अपने अच्छा कोशिश करें बेचारे, लेकिन अच्छे लोग बहुत कम हैं। इसीलिए कुछ अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी है जहाँ पे कुछ अच्छा हो रहा है। JNU तो नंबर 1 है ही। कोशिश करनी चाहो, करो कोशिश, ठीक है। थैंक यू, चलता हूँ फिलहाल हरिद्वार।